Hi, I'm Clare Scanlan from Scanlan Makers. We do custom finishes using paint, plaster, and different kind of really traditional techniques to achieve modern looking surfaces. Originally, I studied fine art a couple of times. Then I ended up just for cash working at Porter's Paints, who have a lot of like old school finishes and decorative finishes, and they hired artists at the time because we could colour match by eye. So I ended up doing that for a while and getting different experiences with them and working with interior designers and realising that there really was a market for something like pushing the boundaries of what could be a paint finish. But every time we do these really cool samples, it was quite difficult to find the right applicators who could combine that sensibility with art, like composition and colour, with the trade skills to get it on the wall. So when I left Porter's, I was like, let's give it a go. And got into a Creative Victoria Accelerator program and just manifested Scanlan Makers. Just started saying yes to projects. And today we are in Studio Y's new office space, which is an old light shop on St Kilda Road with incredibly high ceilings and beautiful big windows. What we're working on is a custom finish for one of the original walls behind us. This is kind of our classic Scanlan Makers for Studio Y finish that incorporates plaster, natural paints, glazes, a lot of art techniques and old-fashioned painting techniques and products. I worked with Studio Y for the first time at Stomping Ground in Moorabbin. A friend of mine, Meg, who had Mock Turtle and was doing something along the same lines as me, kind of, is it art, is it paint finish? She stopped painting and recommended me as someone who could achieve a similar kind of aesthetic. And so did that project, and then from there that was a big success and the rest is history. I love the amount of trust that Studio Y puts in me as a craftsperson, and the way that Studio Y actually understands that what we can do is respond to the space itself and bring in elements like the history or colours we might find under layers on the wall. And so you can kind of we can create something that's more than just a finish that's been developed out of context of the building. So it almost sort of becomes part of the story of the building itself. And that's a pretty rare thing to have with a designer. My favourite projects would be the ones like what's behind me, where there's an original wall of an old building and you're not quite sure what you're going to find in it, and you can incorporate elements of that into the finish. That, and when I get to work with natural products, because I think that they can actually shift the way a space feels. So something like what's behind me incorporates both of those things. We're using lime wash and plasters, and it's an original wall, so we can kind of basically turn it into a big artwork. We worked on the Bay Hotel for Studio Y, and upstairs there, when we started working on the walls, they started delaminating, and so we kind of rolled with that and started peeling all the old paint off, and what was underneath was this really beautiful plaster finish. I feel like we even found some drawings on the walls, and so we kind of left what we'd intended behind and got all of that back, and then just kind of added what we could to make it sound and incorporate areas that hadn't peeled to blend harmoniously with the rest of the finish. And it kind of became something that no one could have intended. Like, you couldn't plan for that, but it was a beautiful, happy accident, and they're really pretty walls. So the inspiration for the colours in this, which we're halfway through, so they'll be revealed a little more in the future, but the inspiration was parts of the wall that delaminated, and we found that had this kind of chalky russet pink patina with like creamy areas. And even though this particular section of wall doesn't have heaps of that, we decided to kind of roll with that as the inspiration because it speaks to the wall itself in the building and what's happened to it before. And then we're going to, because this is a really old, soft kind of finish, it's going to be juxtaposed with gloss red with pink candy stripes because old and new. It really wouldn't be a studio-wide project if there wasn't something shiny. This wall has happened very organically. I had a plan as far as the layers I was going to put on, but I brought a whole bunch of different colours so I could kind of go off in any direction. And I have worked really intuitively on this one. So the shapes and everything have been very much in response to the light and the space. Yeah, it's sort of evolving and changing. Like each layer kind of tells me what the next layer should be. Each shape that goes on kind of, I respond to that to create the next one. So it's very much an intuitive process. Yeah, it's awesome to be able to showcase different finishes that we can do that are suitable for hospitality, because that's what we love doing. It's what Studio Y specialise in. So to have a little bit of a showcase around the office, it's a really cool opportunity to try slightly different things or push the envelope a little bit when the client is the designer.